Hey there, folks. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy, and I'd like to ask you if you could take a moment to head over to my channel sponsor, Dubby, at Dubby.GG. They have a wide assortment of different energy drink powders that you can put in your water if you'd like to avoid soda and high levels of sugar. You can use the code THEGIG for 10% off of your entire order, and it would be helpful to the channel. Thank you very much. Hey there, folks. Andre, the Game Idea Guy here, and Sony went ahead and did the thing. They did the very not intelligent thing by going ahead and wasting resources and development on a PS5 Pro. How many games could they have made if they didn't spend the time redesigning the current PS5 so that it could be swapped from digital to physical with the expensive add-on disk drive, to release the PS5 Pro that is also compatible with said disk drive? How much money could they have invested in their games if they didn't waste money on doing those two things? Because it was definitely a waste of money. I don't care what you say. That was a waste of money for the PlayStation brand. We still have companies that don't know how to use the hardware that's out. You still have issues with games being glitchy, laggy, bug-filled because the companies will not acclimate themselves to the hardware that is out. Because everybody will keep asking for more power, more power, more power. Again, you want to keep doing that, which is keeping game development expensive, which is driving cost up. But you got people that are happy to support that idea, but say they love gaming. How do you love gaming and want to support gaming, but you support the ideas that are killing the very medium that you claim to love? How? Well, to quote Shadow Fox, because he keeps saying, "How, Sway?" And I know he's quoting, I'm pretty sure he's quoting Kanye West, but it sounds better to say quoting Shadow Fox. How? How do you keep perpetuating the idea that, hey, we need to make everything more and more and more and more expensive so that it's more and more and more and more prohibitive in an already expensive hobby? Why? Why would you want to keep doing that? Because fanboyism knows no bounds. And I understand being a fanboy. Trust me, I do. I do 100%. I understand the mindset. I have a preference for Nintendo over Microsoft and Sony, but I still want to see Microsoft and Sony thrive. A fanboy would say, I love Nintendo, screw Microsoft and Sony. I want the competition to thrive, because if the competition thrives, we get better stuff at lower prices. If the competition doesn't thrive, prices will go up. Game development will go up, which will cost more, and that pricing will be passed off to us. Yes, there are indie games and indie studios out there that are killing it with low budget titles that are amazing, but that is not the biggest portion of the industry where most of the revenue is made. It comes down to the third-party developers and the console manufacturers. Now, Nintendo, also like the indies, but maybe a little bit more expensive than the indies, is killing it with lower budget titles. Even when they have a bad game, they more than likely still make their money back off of that bad game, enough money to sustainably continue. Profits versus revenue. Revenue is basically the total of what is taken in, what is spent. Profit is basically revenue versus cost. if I were to try to simplify it. So if it cost me $20 to make this book, to put it out, and I make $5 off of said book, I have made a $5 profit. But if it costs me $50 to make a book and I only make 51, I've only made $1 profit. Yeah, I made more money off of that sale, but I didn't retain more money. I think that helps explain it as simple as it can be. I know it's not perfect. The analogy is off. But there we go. So PS5 Pro. I honestly didn't watch the technical explanation yet from Mark Cerny. I'm probably going to. I just haven't yet. But I mean, the internet blew up with information. So it's going to launch at $700 with nothing of the fixtures that the PS5 comes with, at least the modified version. So if you have a base model PS5 and you want to upgrade to this thing, and I mean base model is in base model with the disk drive, and you want to upgrade to this thing, that's $780, almost $800, if you want to be able to retain your library going forward. Now, obviously, Sony would expect that people are going to trade in their PS5s and upgrade to the Pro. Only problem I have with that is, how do you do a system transfer if you trade in your PS5 before you get the Pro? I mean, I'm pretty sure they have a way you can do it with the drives. Maybe you can take the drive out and swap everything, which I think honestly was probably a little bit of a hassle, but it's doable. But that's about it. So expect that you will probably see used PS5s at like different gaming retailers or outlets for around $300, $350, maybe $400, depending on if it has a disk drive or not. Because again, Sony has wasted money with this. I don't care. They have wasted money. They could have put all the money that they spent on research and development for this into games, the actual software. That's been people's major complaint, that there's not enough exclusive software for the PS5. It's either also on PS4, also on PC, also on Nintendo Switch, also on Xbox. Well, so just to make this clear, when someone says PS5 has no games, they don't literally mean there are no games on PS5. It means there aren't enough games to justify having the device. If you can play them elsewhere, what's the point? If you really, really, truly want to still have the PS5 experience and you don't want to spend an arm and a leg, you can right now purchase yourself a pre-built gaming PC for around $450 to $550 and get a very similar experience. And all you have to do is purchase a DualSense controller, which also went up in price. Hey, Sony was turning a profit. It ain't enough of a profit, obviously, if they're raising prices everywhere, but they're turning a profit. This is getting bad. This is getting bad. I want Sony to succeed, but I see them making so many horrible moves that would... These same types of moves killed Sega as a console manufacturer. Killed the 3DO. which honestly didn't really have very many legs to stand on, but it still killed the 3DO. And people are championing this. Not a lot of people. I do see a lot of Sony heads out there complaining, arguing about it, because it's like it wasn't needed. You don't need a Pro model for your home console when you don't have enough stuff to make people want the original. Switch is doing so well because there's tons of software on it. Say what you want about third-party games being on the Switch. Yeah, some of them are egregiously bad. Not all of them, but some of them are. Some have minor issues that people take to far extremes. And then there are some that are horrible, at least when they first release. Updates sometimes fix that, but you get the point. This is becoming an issue. It's like Sony did one thing right with Astrobot. They did one thing right with Astrobot. But they wasted so much money elsewhere. And you gotta hope that Astrobot, I'm pretty sure by now it made the money back that it was supposed to. I don't think that game was expensive in a way that they couldn't have made their money back off of the first million in sales. But this PS5 Pro, horrible idea. Horrible idea. Just not great. I'm looking on the used market for a PS5. I'm not worried about a Pro model. I can go with the old base PS5 that has the disc drive on it and be perfectly happy. I'd be cool with that. And I've seen people say this online, and it would have made sense if that would have been the justifying difference between the Pro model and the base slash modular model of PS5. And that's if the Pro came with direct backwards compatibility for PS1 through 3. Like, you could put your physical media in it and it would play the game. I swear that would have been the sweet spot for this. That would have been the end all be all for justifications for this. But it's not. Now, I'm pretty sure some clever hackers and modders could probably figure out how to make it work. But it's just not what they're doing at Sony. And again, this is preempting for the Switch successor. That's all this is. It's preempting for the Switch successor. It's the same thing that happened with the PS4 Pro. Same thing. PS4 Pro and Xbox One X. Same situation. Preempting before Nintendo does anything. Or before we know what Nintendo's doing. Trying to wow people with the most vapid and empty things that we can. Not, hey, we've got all this extra CPU horsepower. Let's work on making some much better AIs for our games. Let's work on making our games far more interesting and intuitive. Nope, we're just going to add more pixels to the screen, make it a little bit prettier. And try to reintroduce that ray tracing thing that no one talks about anymore, because that's going to sell everyone. People. This is what you call milking your fan base. Yeah, you can definitely say Nintendo's guilty of it, because they will throw out all the different versions of the Switch Lite that they can. They will give you all of the different colors of Joy-Cons that they can. Oh yeah, they definitely milk their fan base. They definitely hit for the impulsive shoppers. But I think the way Sony does it is way worse. Because when Sony does it, it's far more expensive. It is far more expensive when Sony does it. Nintendo does it, yeah, it's bad, but you kind of look at it like, okay, I guess we can let that one go. Isn't that so horrible? But Sony does it, it's like Nintendo wants you to buy some controllers and the cheap version of their platform. Sony's making stuff more expensive for you to get. And on top of that, they're not even improving the battery life of those daggone controllers. So why are we paying extra money to get them? Like I said, you go ahead and get yourself a DualSense controller. Get yourself a decent gaming PC that will probably last you at no less than the next 8 years without an upgrade. And then when it does come time to upgrade, you're paying less to swap the parts if you're doing it incrementally, not like the psychotic people that are on the gaming side of PC that want to upgrade every freaking 5 to 6 months. But if you're doing like an incremental upgrade every 5 to 6 years, where you potentially upgrade your CPU and your GPU, you're actually going to come out cheaper than doing it this way. And trust me, I love every platform for gaming. Like, but this is okay, people. Y'all keep talking about how we need companies to cut back because it's costing them too much money and they're not making enough. Like, people talking out both sides of their mouth. Oh man, Sony needs to start putting out games and stop stop spending so much money, which has been said by Sony's upper management for PlayStation. We need to put out more games. We need more games out, which requires smaller budgets, smaller teams, working on more projects at once. But hey, we also have this machine that does 4K better. That's it. We have this machine that does 4K better. We have this machine that shows ray tracing better. We have this machine that does performance mode better. Like, really? Y'all not watching and seeing that you basically getting the exact same thing, just more expensive? And that it was a waste of money to make this in the first place? Because third-party developers are still having trouble putting out games, and we see so many companies tanking or studios tanking after 1, maybe 2 games. It is prohibitively expensive to develop a game for this type of hardware. And we got people out here saying, well, hey, the next console for Nintendo is going to be at this level, which you truly don't know. Because it hasn't been released, it hasn't been presented, so you truly don't know. You only can go off of rumors. And hey, companies are going to prefer to put their games on this machine, the more expensive machine that's going to have a much smaller audience to sell to, than the baseline model that's already out. Just think about that. Companies are still making games for PS4. And not just PS4 Pro, PS4. Let's take that down. Think about that. Take it down to that level. PS4 Pro has existed for how long? And there are no games that are specifically for PS4 Pro that cannot be played on a baseline PS4. Just consider that. And think about the fact that games are still coming to PS4 to this day. Even though PS5 is at what, like somewhere around 60 million units sold? Shouldn't PS4 stop getting games now? At this point, it should stop getting games, right? There's enough of a stable market for the PS5 that PS4 shouldn't still be getting games. Yet PS4 is still getting games. Some of which are developed specifically for PS4 because PS5 is backwards compatible with PS4, so there's no point in developing for both consoles. You just develop for the cheaper one, the PS4. So when people say stuff like that, I'm like, okay, PS4 Pro came out, didn't do massive numbers. It was just a waste of time because you still have your baseline PS4 getting stuff. Baseline PS4 and PS4 Slims can still play the games that are on PS4 Pro. So what was the point? Again, wasted, mismanaged money. This is the same thing for the Xbox One, the Xbox One X. You can still play the same games on your Xbox One that your Xbox One X can play. Hell, you could take it a step further and say you can still play the games on your Xbox One that your Xbox Series console can play. Yes, you have to do it through the cloud, but you can still do it. So you don't even need anything beyond a base Xbox One and a subscription, which is cheaper than this, mind you. Far cheaper than this. And it would take a while over time for it to catch up to the cost of this console alone. Just wrap your head around that. And that's just without even considering physical media being more and more likely to be phased out by the next PlayStation platform. Which means if you have physical discs, you will not be able to transfer your game over unless they go some roundabout way of you plugging your game into your PS5 to transfer your license to the next console. And I'm pretty sure once you do that, the license will be dead on your PS5. Just to keep that in mind. We're getting to the point where this is getting horribly bad. And we need companies to take a step back, to slow down. Honestly, we need more smaller consoles like the Playdate. We need more smaller consoles that are their own thing, separate from the big three. But that's a whole other discussion. Just right now, looking at this concept with the PS5 Pro, it's just not a good idea. I've been saying that for a while. Pro models for this generation were not needed, especially when the consoles, the two more powerful consoles, weren't getting their own exclusive games. They've pretty much almost priced themselves out of the market because of the cost of their consoles, the cost of game development, and how slowly they are releasing their own games, which don't even end up staying exclusive. Would I really need to rush to purchase God of War, the next God of War game when it comes out on PlayStation, if within a year is going to be on PC, and I can play it with my preferred control method at that point, do I really have to spend that money? When there's tons of games already on PC to play? And then I could just wait until that game comes out and play it later? Sometimes at a cheaper price? Man, people don't think. People don't think. And I'm here 20 minutes deep on this, just analyzing what people have said, not even talking about anything Mark Cerny said. Because honestly, sometimes people mistranslate things that are said by people in tech anyway. But I'm just going off of the ideas I've seen floating about. I still think it's a waste of money. I still think it was a waste of resources. Yes, truly, this is for the uber Sony enthusiast that has money to burn. Just like PSVR 2. Just like PlayStation Portal. Just like the DualSense Edge. Just like those earbuds. If you are uber into the Sony ecosystem and you got money to burn, these all look beautiful to you. But if you're just a normal gamer who just wants to have fun and play some video games, this looks like a huge wall to climb. And that's my opinion personally. But I think I've talked enough. I've run my mouth enough about it. I already know that there's going to be somebody in the comments that says, oh, well, you like Nintendo. Well, we see which company is being more successful right now and who has to go to who to develop a motion picture for them to earn some extra cash. Just put that out there. But that's it. Thank you guys very much for listening in. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games and peace out, everybody. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy, and I'd like to thank you once again for tuning in. If you would be interested in supporting my efforts in content creation, please head on over to Amazon and look up The Game Idea Guy Presents Gaming Word Search, and you will find both Volume 1 and Volume 2 up for sale. Thank you very much once again, and I hope to be able to create more content for you in the future. Peace out.